Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Physical quantities and measurements, the first chapter of physics. SLOs are 1.6.1 identify the measuring instruments, 1.6.2 describe the working of measuring instruments, 1.6.3 determine the least count of the measuring instruments. In the measuring instruments today we are going to focus on another instrument known as screw gauge. The least count of the screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter. Now the question arises that what is screw gauge? The screw gauge is an instrument used to measure small thickness accurately up to 0.01 millimeter. Just like vernier caliper, inch tape and meter rod, screw gauge is another instrument which we use to measure the length. But now the question is this, that how the screw gauge is different from all these instruments. The screw gauge is more precise, more accurate than vernier caliper or inch tape or meter. Why? Because the least count of the one screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter. And we use the screw gauge to measure the small length, the small diameter of a thin wire, the thickness of a metallic sheet. Yes. Here you can see the diagram of screw gauge. This is metallic U-shaped frame. You can see the shape of this frame is U-shaped. That is why it is called U-shaped frame. This part is called anvil, and it is also called stud. In some books, in some videos, they are going to, some people use the term of stud instead of anvil. This part is called spindle. Now, just like vernier caliper, the screw gauge has also two scales, main scale and the circular scale. The main scale has marks on it. You can see the marks on it, and this line is known as the index line, which passed through the main scale. The circular scale, some screw gauge has 50 divisions on it, and some screw gauge has 100 divisions on circular scale. This part is called thimble, and this part is called ratchet. So what we have learned, that the screw gauge has U-shaped metallic frame. It has stud and spindle. It has sleeve, and the sleeve has main scale. The index line passed through the main scale. It has circular scale. The circular scale may have 50 divisions or it may have 100 division, and this part is called thimble and ratchet. Now students, what happened that when the thimble completes one rotation, this thimble, when the thimble complete one rotation, for example, if it starts moving from this point means that 12 or 13th division, if it starts moving, and then when it comes back again and complete its one rotation, the spindle moves 1 mm along the index line. It means that the spindle moves 1 mm along the index line. जो इसकी यहाँ से length, the distance which it covers will be 1 mm. And here, when the circular scale also covers the distance of 1 mm on completing every rotation. Now the screw gauge is called screw gauge because it has screw inside it, inside this part, inside the spindle and sleeve. It has screw. So when the circular scale moves on this screw, when it completes one rotation, it covers the distance of 1 mm if it has 100 divisions on it. Now, when we study about the screw gauge, we use another term known as the pitch of the screw gauge. Pitch, what is pitch? When the circular scale is turned through one complete rotation, the distance covered on the main scale is called pitch. The same thing, that when the circular scale is turned through one complete rotation, the distance covered on the main scale is called pitch. When it completes one rotation, if it is starting its rotation from this point, it completes its rotation at this point. So the distance covered on the main scale is called the pitch on one complete rotation. Now look at this another diagram. These are the grooves. So the pitch is the distance covered by the circular scale from one groove to another groove. This distance is called pitch. If the screw gauge has 50 divisions on it, this distance is 0.5 mm. But if the circular scale has 100 divisions on it, then this distance, the pitch is 1 mm. It means that the circular scale has, if the circular scale has 50 divisions, the pitch is 0.5 mm. But if the circular has 100 divisions, the pitch is 1 mm. Now least count of the screw gauge. What is the least count of the screw gauge? The smallest distance which can be measured with the help of a screw gauge is called least count. How we can find out the least count of a screw gauge? With the help of this formula, we can find out the least count of a screw gauge. What is the formula? Pitch divided by total number of divisions on the circular scale. So the screw gauge with 50 divisions on the circular scale, what is the pitch of that screw gauge? The pitch is about 0.5 mm and the number of circular divisions are 50 mm. So when we divide it, we have 0.01 mm. But if the screw gauge has 100 divisions on the circular scale, what is the pitch? The pitch is about 1 millimeter. The pitch is 1 millimeter. So when we divide 1 millimeter by 100 divisions, we have 0.01 millimeter. So no matter whether the screw gauge has 50 divisions on it or 100 divisions on it, the least count will remain same, that is 0.01 millimeter. Now zero error. As you know that the screw gauge has two scales, main scale and circular scale. When the zero of main scale or when the zero of circular scale is coinciding with the index line, it means that it has no zero error. If the zero error, but if the zero error is if the zero of circular scale has not reached the zero of main scale, it is behind the zero of main scale, the zero of circular scale is behind the zero of main scale, then this type of error is known as the positive zero error. Look at the diagram. Here we have the zero of circular scale and this is the index line. Now negative zero error. Zero error is negative if the zero of circular scale has passed zero of main scale. This zero of circular scale has passed zero of main scale. They are not coinciding. It has passed away. So this type of error is known as the negative zero error.